Mike, I'm feeling like there's some kind of change with this set. Did anything change since I've last been here?
Of course, Ryan. It's Christmas.
Christmas?
Christmas.
Looking very Hallmark in here.
Well, you know, 'tis the season. And as they say, it's the Hallmark season.
Who says that?
I don't know.
Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Candace Cameron Bure. I'm so excited to share my brand new Countdown to Christmas movie premiere with you. Join me and my handsome co-star Tim Rosen for an unforgettable, all-new, original Christmas love story.
Ooh. So, Mike, you invited me over to your home, just the two of us, to watch a romantic Christmas movie.
I did.
And I gotta say, it was a great way to spend a Saturday.
I didn't mean it to be just the two of us, but...
It's okay, you don't have to explain yourself. I had a good time.
I'm glad.
I don't want you to second guess any decisions. So the movie we watched, Christmas Town.
A Christmas Town, not Halloween Town, Christmas Town.
Christmas Town. It was one of the most forgettable movies I've ever seen, but I think that's kind of a hallmark of a Hallmark movie. I've seen Hallmark movies when I was at my parents' house every now and then. I don't know if I've ever really sat down and watched one all the way through till now, but I definitely see like the through lines of a Hallmark movie. And they're bad movies. And there's a reason they're bad though, because they're so perfectly structured. It's like a plug and play. You know, it's just they take characters and they just put a new actor in the spot, but it's still fulfilling the same exact role.
Plugging in elements and plot devices that the audience is familiar with, Hallmark movies having in them, like a businesswoman who goes back to her small town, or the single father character, or people being super interested in tradition or the past, or their grandparents' truck.
That's my truck. Well, actually, it's my grandfather's truck, but it looks so great, decided to fix the engine.
Because there's so much at stake in terms of like the ratings, they're so super reluctant to even try to do something new. If they deviated from that pattern, like people would be like, this isn't a Hallmark movie. Hallmark has a huge following of fans, and every year around this time, the Hallmark channel becomes one of the highest rated TV channels just because of their movies.
Really?
Seriously.
I mean, I figured they must make money because they make 40 movies a year. Well, I knew people watched it. We were talking about this before, but I always assumed it was like this weird niche of Midwestern moms.
They're here in New Jersey.
They're here in New Jersey too?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know anybody?
Yeah, well, just recently, this past November, we had Christmas Con in Edison, New Jersey, which for anyone unfamiliar is a convention for Christmas, but it's sponsored by Hallmark. So it's basically a Hallmark convention. You can go there, you can see your favorite Hallmark stars, you can get autographs from your favorite Hallmark stars. I'm surprised that people have favorite Hallmark stars.
I'm surprised that there are Hallmark stars.
Oh my God, if we're all here, who's watching Hallmark Channel?
Christmas time, how we doing?
You do enough Hallmark movies and, you know, somebody's gonna know your name. But nobody can actually, like, name their favorite, like, Hallmark Christmas movie. Because, like, if you look at the list of just every Hallmark Christmas movie, like, they're all the same. Well, there's a movie that we're gonna review, but we didn't.
It's not actually Hallmark.
It's not actually a Hallmark movie, which I found out like, there's 40 Hallmark movies coming out this year, and I was like, oh, this has gotta be one of them, right? So I spent all this time looking at this movie, looking at the trailer, downloading it, all this thing. It's not even a Hallmark movie. It's called, and I thought it was gonna be so great because it's like a very meta movie, and it's called A Christmas Movie Christmas.
A Christmas movie Christmas.
We're in a Christmas movie!
I think the more times you work Christmas into the name of the movie, the better the chance of getting the Hallmark execs to sign off on it.
We're gonna take a risk, and we're gonna save Christmas.
Yeah.
Like if we showed up and we were like, we got an idea for a movie called Christmas Time, It's Christmas Time Right Now, the Christmas movie story, we're gold.
Looking at this Hallmark movie, Christmas Town, if it shows anything, it's like anybody can write one of these movies.
Written and directed by anyone.
It's just a committee of Hallmark representatives. The plot of this Hallmark movie is a businesswoman.
I'm a teacher, for heaven's sake.
Substitute teacher.
A substitute teacher.
Who just got a full-time teaching job in Springfield.
I just wish you didn't have to move to Springfield.
No, she was going to...
No, she was going from Boston to Springfield.
She was taking a train because she got a new teaching job.
in order to get the exposition across as fast as possible, they had 2 scenes in Act 1. And those 2 scenes were the main character talking to her best friend, one of the few minorities in the film,
Yep.
who never comes back after this scene.
Nope.
And they literally talk through all of her problems in a row. So they go, you know, I'm moving here, but my boyfriend, he doesn't want to move there. He wants to move to Manhattan. I want kids. And my boyfriend doesn't want kids.
Everyone knows how much I love children. I'm a teacher, for heaven's sake.
I'm sorry you're going through this.
And then what was the third one? I want the white picket fence.
Yep, that was it.
So those were her 3 goals.
Children, white picket fence, good teaching job.
And all of that was shoehorned into the opening scene.
You see establishing shots of like whatever city she's in. It's like immediately into the studio, but they didn't have to furnish it because she was moving.
Yeah, it was just 5 boxes.
Yeah, so right off the bat, it's like super cheap set, and then they tell all the exposition in like 45 seconds. If you're sitting down with your popcorn, you're gonna miss all of it.
We had to rewind actually because
did.
we missed. We said like 2 jokes and missed it and had to go back and be like, oh shit, this is important stuff, I guess. So that's established. Then she stops by her boyfriend's house and basically goes, I'm starting a new life. Bye.
Bye. She's on a train. For some reason, the train breaks down. There's an obstruction in the path.
Yeah.
Another hallmark of Hallmark movies is that there's no difficulties in this reality. Like, there's no institutional racism. There's no...
Well, there's only white people, so.
Right, well, exactly. There's no problems in the world, you know? So, like, when there's an obstruction on the train tracks, it's definitely not like a dead body or anything. It's just like, oh yeah, the train broke down or something.
Yeah. We assure you it's still wholesome. I think one of my biggest pet peeves is just how easy everything right from the beginning is for the main character. So they break down and the train conductor is just like, oh yeah, the train broke down. Here's a voucher for a hotel in town.
So I just so happen to be from there.
And then she has the meet cute with the leading man.
Right, it's scene 4, so we kind of need to establish our romantic interest because the ladies, they're gonna lose interest.
So budget Chris Pine with a lisp is our romantic leading man.
The way that he holds his mouth, it doesn't look like he's moving his jaw when he speaks.
We'll show you guys a clip.
Looks like I'm gonna need a cart.
And then because he has a lisp, I guess they were like, well, his son has to have a lisp.
Even though it's his foster son.
Was that wrong?
I guess they wanted the foster thing to be sort of like a reveal.
True.
Because they don't have conflicts. They just sort of have like small twists.
Little tiny twists. The biggest conflict that you get in this movie is, oh, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And then the next scene is them getting what they needed.
We establish our romantic lead. She basically walks up to him and just starts ordering him to drive her into town and pick up all her bags.
So I'll just get a ride with you.
Sure.
Why is he just hanging around at the train station for no reason?
And then she goes,
Oh, if you're not the cab driver, then like, I'm not gonna go with you.
Stranger
Let me start
danger.
taking out of my, she starts taking her bags out of his truck and she keeps putting her bags in his truck, which is very weird.
it is. And then she goes, how do I know I can even trust you? And then he turns to the nearest person and goes like,
Safety first. Hey, Farley, you vouch for me?
Travis is a really good guy.
she's like, but I don't know Dave. And then the train conductor, as if this guy and the main character are old friends, like, hey, it's Trevor. Can you give me a lift too? And then she's like,
Do you want to know why she didn't trust Dave all that much? Because he was black.
yeah, he was the only black man in the film. She didn't trust Dave.
She didn't trust him.
Yeah.
He looked like a nice guy.
A little bit of racism there in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and then she stays in an antique store attic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite little things is that nobody charges money for anything in this movie.
For the road.
The main guy love interest is a handyman, and he's just constantly doing people favors and going, it's Christmas, I couldn't possibly. It's Christmas.
He's got a huge house,
Yeah,
too.
he's got a giant house, this handyman in a town of 50.
He's definitely like a mobster, right? Like he paints houses.
Yeah, paints houses, Irishman, yeah. Irishman style.
We just watched that too, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It's a good movie, but we can't talk about that now. That's not a Christmas movie.
It should have been.
It could have been.
All they had to do is decorate it.
Yeah, all I need is the Hallmark set designer.
I do want to say that in this movie, If you look at the backgrounds, like, no, you don't even have to watch the main characters. Like, the backgrounds are spectacular. Like, the interior design, like all the Christmas decorations and stuff. Like, you think this is cool? You think my decorations are awesome? They're not. They're terrible. Compared to a Hallmark movie,
They have a good,
amazing.
They got a set designer.
All the money in the budget must go to these decorations.
To the Christmas decorations, yeah.
Either that or they just reuse them for every movie.
But also there's only like 4 interior locations that are used.
They have the toy shop, they have the inside of the Christmas cafe,
The guy's house.
and then there's a town square
Yes.
area. Oh, and then they got a barn for like the
For the dance scene. But that could also be the antique store again, which I think is probably what it
They
was.
just cleared everything out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he's got the foster kid. The foster kid really likes her, wants her to stay in town. She has to go to Springfield until someone literally quits their job teaching at the public school in town to give her the job. That's how easily things are solved for this woman.
Yeah. And even she is like, you quit your job so I could teach her?
And she's like, well, I always wanted to work in this cafe. And then she gets a job at the cafe.
And the main character literally says,
Really?
Also, the interview process for her was, well, you got recommended by her, so we don't need to do background checks or anything. You're hired on the spot. No wait time. Also, adopts the kid. No wait time at all either. And they explain it away. Social services go, or she says that they were like, well, because it was Christmas, they pushed us through quickly. I'm like, that's not a thing. You can't just get a kid because it's Christmas. Can you imagine that in the real world? Like some shit-ass parents, and they're just like, we want another kid, but we'll get denied unless we ask the week before Christmas.
let's wait till Christmas, honey. It's like Black Friday, but for kids. There's like parents outside the orphanage on Christmas Day, clamoring to get in. They're all like stampeding each other over the orphans.
Yeah.
Every orphan's like, oh, take me.
Take me. So I wanted to talk about the boyfriend shows up.
It's a hilarious reveal.
Yeah, it's so funny. They're like having a snowball fight, and then
In the middle of the street.
The camera pans slightly to the left and reveals that she's just hit her ex with a snowball, and it was the slightest of movement.
I thought you were...
Writing you a letter? Yeah.
Goes, I still love you, and I want to make this work. She goes, oh no, how do I choose? And again, the very next scene, everything gets resolved for the characters. The boyfriend comes back and goes, hey, we need to talk. I love you very, very much. But also, I know that we are too different to work out. And I'm gonna move to Manhattan and you're gonna stay here, and that's fine.
Really? You're just gonna give me everything I wanted?
Yeah, no conflict. They're good friends. They have Thanksgiving together. Yeah, and that's kind of the resolution. She adopts the kid, gets together with the guy.
Yeah, the only conflict is like a misunderstanding where the guy thinks that she might be adopting the kid too early.
Oh yeah.
It's too soon.
Which is also resolved the next scene.
Where she has to say, I know I'm adopting this kid too early, but sometimes you just know in your heart that when somebody meets you in your life, that they're gonna stay in your life for the rest of your life. And you're gonna want them in your life.
Foreshadowing.
Come bear and chocolate. And an apology.
Also, another thing that I love about the genre in general is instead of having people actually connect on an emotional level, they just make the other person mirror that person. So when the kid's like, I'm a foster kid and my parents died, the main character is like, well, what a coincidence, because I was a foster kid and my parents died. It's like, there's no depth to the emotion. People just go, me too.
Yeah.
And then they move on.
Hallmark just knows how we respond to Christmas, what our traditions sort of are, even if they aren't religious traditions, like baking cookies, decorating, lighting the tree. Even in this movie, there was a moment where it was like, oh, you help chop down the Christmas tree? You have to help decorate it. That's the rule.
Yeah.
You know?
And
it's
Christmas
like,
rules, yeah.
that's not a rule that's written anywhere. It's just something that we sort of know as society. You have to put a tree up, you have to decorate, you have to wear a Santa hat, things that go with Christmas.
Yeah.
And Hallmark knows what goes with Christmas, and they put it in their movies so that you get that sort of nostalgia for Christmas, and you're always wanting to watch the next one. It doesn't matter what the movie's called or what is happening in the movie. It's giving you the feeling.
Seems gigantic in here.
Oh, don't worry. I brought my ladder, so you'll have no problem reaching the top.
A good representation of how the Hallmark movie takes things and like just turns them like traditional or like puts them in this old-timey sort of like nostalgic Christmas lens is like even the ladder that the dude is like standing on to like hang his Christmas lights and stuff. Like it's not like a ladder that you'd see in Home Depot made out of metal and aluminum. It's a wooden, dark wood like ladder.
And he's also on it all the time.
Woo!
If you would imagine any sort of thing like a street lamp, in a Hallmark movie, that street lamp is gonna look like a street lamp from like a Norman Rockwell painting, you know? Or like
it's gonna have the garland around it, it's gonna have a big red bow.
It'll never look like what you normally use. So major themes of the movie are that nostalgia is good, tradition is good, old things are good. You have to take time to appreciate things.
Family units are good.
Traditional family units.
Nuclear family. No family is complete unless there's a mom and a dad and a kid.
So it's called Christmas Town. The name of the movie is Christmas Town. But obviously Christmas ends. And I cannot imagine what this town looks like during the summer.
Yeah.
And this woman just like drops everything in her life in the span of like 2 weeks to go live in this town.
Yeah.
Because it's very
Christmassy. Yeah. And I bet you that town in the summer must be like a weird horror movie where like all the people are staying inside their houses looking through the things. If anybody shows up, they're like, oh, Christmas.
They have like, they're like carving like Christmas toys with little knives in the corner.
Christmas. They all turned all the lights are off. Christmas. They're scared of the sun. Bunch of Christmas vampires.
Do you think they put all the Christmas decorations back into the bin, or do they just keep them out inside their houses and like outside too?
I think it's all up all year round, just nothing's turned on in the summer.
Another thing in this movie though was that everybody was constantly still decorating what was already a very well decorated place.
So when she first shows up in the town, she shows up at that cafe and it's immaculately decorated. There's a scene 75% of the way through the movie where the two cafe ladies and the old man who lives next door are decorating again. Why are they decorating?
I think you're good.
Everything's up. So Monica's asking us, do we think movies like this should be made? And I mean, my gut reaction is yes, but that's because I'm very much of the mind that you should sell out whenever you can. And
you just want Hallmark to buy your script.
And if I was a director, I would absolutely direct a Hallmark movie. I'd be like, yeah, give me the money. I'll do it. Who cares?
Hallmark. You see this set? I'm ready. Hire me. Let's go. Take me.
We got a good movie. You heard it already.
He's like the ultimate Hallmark guy. Seriously, he's super dreamy, and yet he's so down to earth, and he's such a good actor.
I am right here, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret and nobody else. I had a huge crush on Katniss for a long time.
So, in summation, Mike, would you say that you actually enjoyed that movie we watched? Whether it be ironically or non-ironically?
I mean, the movie did put me in the Christmas spirit.
Again, the sets are so full and cheery that, yeah.
And it did have a couple, like, kind of so bad it's good moments.
Although I will say, like, it puts you in the spirit, but in the same way that, like, the Yule log on TV would put you in the spirit. Like, it could have just been a shot of the cafe with no dialogue and people just drinking cocoa and eating gingerbread for an hour and a half, and that would have done the same exact thing.
I'd watch that, honestly. Like,
yeah, I'd put that on.
If you just, like, if it was real, too. Like, it wasn't just a loop, but it was an actual hour and a half of, like, just people walking out and, like, somebody actually conducted actors to do those, like, things.
We should make that.
I'd watch that.
We could sell that.
We could sell that. We could sell that. I mean, if this was the 80s, we could put that on a VHS and sell that. Now we have YouTube, but we can't make any money off of YouTube, though.
So check out our Patreon.
As far as Christmas movies go, Christmas Town, terrible. But it gives you the holiday feeling, so I'd give it like a 3 because like at least like the set looks great. There's enough like interesting things kind of going on for you to be like, oh, that's funny because it's cliche, or like, oh, that's funny because like, of course it would happen in a Hallmark movie.
So convenient. Yeah, I would also give it a 3. It wasn't it was not a good movie, but it wasn't like an abysmal piece of shit where you're just trying to figure out what the shot's even looking at, you know? If you need a movie to put on in the background while your family is over on Christmas getting drunk and, you know, you just want some noise and you don't want the Yule log, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this won't satisfy your crazy uncle, but it'll definitely satisfy like...
Your crazy aunt.
Oh yeah, there's a cat in this too. She'll really like that. His name was Sassy. I think if you like Hallmark movies, you know if you like Hallmark movies, and you'll like this movie.
Yeah, if you like Hallmark movies, of course you're gonna like this movie.
It's very much just a Hallmark movie. It has all the hallmarks of a Hallmark movie. But if you don't like Hallmark movies, you probably won't like this Hallmark movie. So if you want to see a good Hallmark movie, watch Christmas Town.
I agree. So you're gonna watch Christmas in Dollywood that comes out tonight?
That's the Dolly Parton Christmas one, right?
Yeah, it's Dolly Parton Christmas.
That's another Hallmark movie.
Yeah. It's coming out tonight, everybody.
Hi, Mike here from Rabbit Hole TV, here with our mascot Pumpkin. Thanks for watching In the Fold. If you like what you saw, please subscribe for more. And if you really like what you saw, you can check out our Patreon where you can see behind the scenes photos and videos. Right, Pumpkin? She says subscribe.